We just talked about, on the one side, efficiencies, synergies, but for me, it's also about performance, right? To create an organization that gets more out of that, what you give into it. So whether it's budget, whether it's people, resources. So building an operating model, the term, but building an operating model across all Europe. What was most important or key highlights to build that across functions, across markets, and other disciplines that are involved?
Yeah, I would say when it comes to marketing, I come from the days when marketing was not really easy to measure. Back in the day, even almost impossible to measure, and this is now completely over, as you know very well, Jonas. So what I like about the European approach very much is that we brought everybody on the same KPI set. So all the markets are more or less following the same KPIs that we are constantly monitoring. So there's full transparency, and we can also see what works well, what doesn't. And the good inventions are then scaled up immediately. So that's something that is very, very helpful, and also helped me creating acceptance for what we're doing here, because the markets all over Europe saw immediately that they have a benefit for that. Yeah, in the end, it's also about showing that what we are doing here quickly works. Yeah, so there were the quick wins. We can measure the success, and I would say this is for us the one of the key drivers when it comes to all of our cross-vertical endeavors. Be it if the website works, if the media campaigns are working, we are not all interpreting into different directions, because Italy is so different than Switzerland, and these countries are different. But when it comes to website performance or media performance, we speak the same language, and that is something that was absolutely key to what we are doing here.
So it's the one thing, you speak the same language, you have the same metrics. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's about taxonomy in our projects also. That is a very important, meaningful thing. And then you have these, not silos, but you have the channels. And each of them has to understand, and they need to collaborate. Maybe you can say a little bit more. You talked about Journey Manager. How does this collaboration from earliest funnel stage to mid to lower, how did that work, and how did you make that more successful?
Yeah, it happens actually on several levels. When it comes to the market, the Journey Manager is the person that knows about what campaign, for example, with which amount of media money is right now in market. Yeah, looking exactly if it's in each funnel phase, the metrics and the targets that we created beforehand are being fulfilled and hit. Yeah. The digital hub, the competence center I mentioned before, is where these verticals are sitting. So, for example, all the expertise for media purchasing, especially for the digital media, for the website, for the one-to-one marketing. But then we also realize that when it comes to these verticals, you also have to make sure that they are not perfectionizing themselves in their own organization, but also you have to trigger and stimulate the dialogue between these teams. Because what happens in big enterprises, as we all know, is that the silo is perfectionizing itself, yeah, but then the interface, yeah, to the neighbor competencies is not really there. So this is something there we really had to invest some more time and energy after quite a while to make sure that in this case the journey on all levels is really running well and in the way that we have given it as a target.
Yeah, and a target across the function that it really, as a team, you have to drive the funnel, and maybe one stage overperforms, the other underperforms, but at the end, marketing, I think, is even still closer. Of course, we'll come to tech in a sec, but also to sales. So having a joint KPI set across all funnel stages, main enabler, main key thing.